Today we're talking, well, really, we're going to do a series of like how to build a business the way a sovereign nation builds a nation, right? Because now we're moving into a world where it's an opportunity for businesses that want to think independent to be independent, and there's lots of wealth there. But the other side of it is like there ain't nobody to save you, right? So you're going to have to think this way either way or get poor. Let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by Rife Martin CPA, where Allison and her team helps business owners become independently wealthy.
Well, thank you for that. And I was thinking as we talk about the dog days of summer, because good God, it's hot,
Ooh-wee.
and the pool is calling my name. How can we work to become independently wealthy? So I love your series that we've got today.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So today we're talking about why a local business shouldn't have a single point of failure, starting with the power grid, right? And so we'll go into a Q&A. But I have been going down a path, as you probably know, really the last few years, and I got serious the last 6 months, and I finally got my solar panels put in today because I've been studying the grid. I've been studying, as you know, I'm a priest of the old system, right? And that old system was breaking, and so I was going, we got to rebuild everything, including like the power grid. So you look at it and you go, oh, okay, solar panels, batteries, grid independence, that's going to protect you from potential energy shocks. And the cool part is we live in Texas, right? So, and this will be important. Everybody shits on the ERCOT grid because it's entrepreneurial. But the reason why all the corporations are moving to Texas is because of the innovation allowed on that grid, which now when we go through it and we talk about it, you'll see like Texas, like they did right. Like it's attracting things because when you actually get into becoming energy independent, you go, oh, like Texas is really the only place you can do that. Like if you're
Yeah.
somewhere else, it's gonna be tough for you to do this. So let's go into it. So when we say a Main Street business should run locally, but think like a global giant, like what do we actually mean? You want to put your thoughts in there?
Well, so I was actually think globally because think of the CPA profession. Most people think of us as tax preparers. We are so much more than that, just like a wealth advisor too. We have to think, how can we serve our clients in all the ways that help them be effective, uh, not just taxpayers, but business owners and all that. So how can we help them have the resources so that they can do all that? So it isn't just being reactive, like you said, to um, quick fix, be compliant with the tax return or pay the bills. Taking control of your business. So how can we help them do that?
That makes sense. And when you're looking at like big global corporations, right? They don't think about putting all their eggs in one basket, or they can't really afford to 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 trust an outside system, right? Because like you have customers, employees, investors who depend on you, so you have to take like responsibility for like your own stuff, right? So, for example, like if power goes out in a business, and then and your customers lose a service because of that, they don't care that you said it ain't my fault. It's the local government. Well, that is your fault, right? Because I paid you, I
Yeah,
paid you to
exactly.
give me like the security, right? And so you have to think about things like what happens if there's a local power outage, right? What happens if there's a supply chain hitch? Because if you don't have it right, and another business does have it right, that's going to affect your bottom line like significantly over time because there are
Right.
people thinking about it today.
Yeah, exactly. Like the competitive advantage slips away. So I very much agree with that. So how can we again don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. Diversify your business. Make sure that you've got, you know, lots of things that and your cash isn't all in one basket, that you've got, appropriate, like the power grid. So
hmm
Anyway,
And next question that's going to help us unpack this is, why is making your own power, right, which means like becoming grid independent, the foundation of the whole deal? And if you want, I can start, or you can
you
start.
start with,
Yeah.
yeah, you start this one, please.
Yep. So when you look at an economy, right, power is like the foundation, just like the body, right? You look at the body, like your energy level is the foundation for everything you do. If you're low energy, you just can't produce as much. So if an economy has low energy, like production is going to go down. And so um, when you have it set up to where, and grid independence don't mean you don't have access to the grid, right? Look, as a relative energy independent person from my home, right? You look and you see, hey, here's how much power I generated myself through the sun, right? Here's how much I have stored in my batteries. Here's how much I bought from the grid, right? And then you can choose to sell back to the grid. Like, but you now have options to where if the grid goes down, I got backup power, right? If the price is right for the grid, I can just buy from the grid if I want to save my batteries for an outage, right? You're independent. You know, you're not a slave to the grid. Um, and that gives you like a solid foundation. So now that I can plan, right? Because before, if electricity prices just doubled on me, and I was totally reliant on the grid, I just got to pay it, and that sucks money from my family's balance sheet, right?
Right.
Now I have options, right? And the thought process it takes you down to think, I never thought about this, right? I never thought about the peak energy or the rush hour traffic for electricity was between 6 and 9. So I should probably like charge up my hybrid electric car at like 9 instead of plugging it in at 5. Like these are just small things that you become very energy efficient when you have to manage your own energy.
Right. I was going to say, how do you translate that to owning a business? Think of all the options of the way you can better serve your customers so you have a backup plan. And that's like what you're talking about with being energy independent while still needing to use the government and the energy grid for something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It becomes a harmonic relationship instead of a whatever the word is, a dependent.
Discordant.
Yeah,
Discordant.
discordant. Yeah. And again, for a business, it's like, like now for the businesses that I run my business mostly out of my home.
Hmm.
Um, but as we get, we're thinking about buying a podcast studio and doing other things. But like now, I'm like everything's going to be grid independent. Like everything's going to be energy independent because it makes the foundation of your balance sheet solid. It's sort of like you can't build a house on a shaky foundation. You know what I mean? And this gives it a solid foundation that you have um, responsibility for, right?
Right.
If it's shaky, it's on you, but you can't say, oh, somebody outside, right? And that's like liberating. I got into this business not for the money, for the independence. Like as you can tell, I'm a very
Right.
independent.
Exactly. I completely agree on that one. So,
Absolutely.
anyway, I just think this is a great idea, and you can translate this to so many different ways in running your business. Don't rely upon one source of income. Don't rely upon one source of energy. Don't, you know, spread your, be thoughtful about how you spread it, but make sure that you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Here's a third one, and we'll roll it up. Right? How does cutting the cord with a utility company change a business's financial strength?
You go first.
Okay, so for me, I'm running the math, and I'm still in the beginning phase of it. But the extra cash that I was giving to the utility company that I now can conserve, right? Um, by maybe selling back some, I have lower cost energy because I'm using solar energy, blah blah blah. Like that money for me can now go into it's no longer draining me, and I have it. So now I can keep that on my balance sheet in things like Bitcoin, right? I want to look at the thing that has the uh, best energy, but I just transfer the energy that I was giving to the utility company to a place where it's gonna grow with more energy. Like so, for me, at the current prices, that's Bitcoin, right? It's not gonna, different things at different places, but you can now keep those savings on your balance sheet, And that like adds financial strength because it's literally strengthening my balance sheet.
Right. I very much agree with that. And I was going to say, I feel like, anyway, I will just say cutting the cord as you're talking about with giving you financial strength. You do want to be mindful. You don't want to completely cut the cord because at some point you do, again, thinking of the backup plan,
Hmm.
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, that's the cool part when you really dig into it. Again, for those who are curious about it, like you got to have a relationship with, at least in where I am with Encore, so you don't but it's a partnership, you
It's a
know.
partnership and a backup because, again, the solar panels are supposed to be your main source of energy.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and look, and well, another one we could talk about. Then you go, oh man, now I can look into wind power, water power. Like I want to buy a farm, so I'm going. Oh, how far can we take this thing? Anyway,
Add down I-20 to the wind farm.
man, so much wind at night. It's crazy.
Exactly. And I-20, where we sit the wind farms, it's just awesome.
Well, let everybody know how they can reach you if they want to improve their balance sheet through smart money moves.
You can reach me at my website, Rafe Martin CPA, or you can email me at info@rafemartinaccounting.com. And I think this would be another fun topic to discuss.
Thanks for sharing, Allison.
Thank you.
Philip Washington Jr. is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.